Hi,
Mo Monday,
hello.
Mo Monday.
Mo Monday indeed. If you're new to us, this is Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. I am Kyle Petty, and tonight I'm chatting with John Dunphy and Gina Morgino. And we're chatting about Netflix's The Mole. You can find us on the socials at StratChatPod or on our website at stratchatpod.com. Okay, so we thought it would be a hoop to kind of go through each person in the order in which they were eliminated and then talk about who we think is the mole.
What I think is so fun about this show too, I just want to say before we get into anybody, like
Mhm.
there have been so many iterations of who I believe the mole is, and I can't it's been so hard for me to land on somebody because then I, as a person who watches a lot of these shows and a person who also knows the production side of things, I'm like, okay, but like, is this person suspicious, or do the editors want me to think that they're suspicious so that it throws me off course?
Right,
Are they just banking on me thinking that so they actually are suspicious, but they want me to think that they're not suspicious? Like, I've been
right.
so like jumbled in my head
Yeah,
trying to be like, but ah.
I get torn as I watch this so many times, thinking like this person could be the mole, or
Mhm.
they're just a complete idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the mistakes that are like, it's just it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
You know, if you're just hanging out with us and you don't know what the mole is, let's tell you about it real quick, actually. You know, it's 12 people playing this game together. The objective is to add as much money to the team pot as possible by playing in various tasks and competitions and such. In order to win each, everyone is always paired off or separated into little groups and such, and they have to accomplish little tasks by themselves, but cooperate together to keep adding that money to the team pot. Now, what they do not know is that there is one person among them that is the mole, and they are secretly working to sabotage each one and decrease the team pot as often as possible, either by way of sabotaging competitions or decreasing it by doing risky things and such, as we'll get into as we go.
It's just
Now,
one big game of Among Us, and I love it
yes,
so much.
exactly. This is basically Among Us. People are eliminated from the game by way of quiz. Um, the game presents them with a 20-question quiz, and whoever gets the quiz is on who they believe the mole is. Whoever gets
That's another thing that I think is so fun about this show is like it's not like the other shows that we watch where people get voted off. Like it's not like they're voting on who they think the mole is to kick them out or anything like that.
right,
So it doesn't necessarily matter what you're doing in the game. It doesn't affect whether you're able to stay in it or not. It just affects like whether other people have good reads on it or not. And I
yeah.
think that's so interesting that you're getting eliminated based on who has the worst reads of the situation and not who is the most suspicious person.
Well, we still didn't really tell them how they leave. So,
Sorry, I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun.
but yes, I do agree with all of that. But yes, whoever had the least amount of answers correct is then the person eliminated. So then, yes, do all of that. That is very interesting. And then we get into some of those like strategy parts of this game. It's very interesting to me. You can just be like, when somebody says, "Well, why did you do that? Why would you risk our money?" You're like, because I don't care. Like, because I'm
Right.
playing for me. It doesn't matter if you like me. Like, like
Mhm.
I stay in because I'm still playing better than you. So it's like, oh, I don't want these people not to trust me. Who cares? I
And
don't
the
care if you
strategy
trust me.
of like also the strategy of which I never would have thought about, but like the strategy of doing suspicious things so that people suspect you of being the mole so they get the quiz questions wrong so they get
Right.
Right.
eliminated
Yes, so that
is
you
I
stay in.
never would have thought about that.
No.
Because
Because
you
we're
end up
not
having
dishonest.
to
We're nice people.
right.
Us chatters.
You end up having to then like spread your answers across the board, and we've heard like Will talk about this, and like
Mhm,
like
mhm.
you end up having to now put your answers onto different people that you might suspect, and you hope that you get enough questions correct. And if one person gets one more question correct than you did, that could be the end of your game right
Yeah.
there. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's so crazy. And like we haven't even started getting into everybody yet, but I know that I just mentioned Will has been very suspicious of somebody like Avery doing that, like doing
Mhm.
mole-like things, but only
Right.
to cause suspicion and not actually because he necessarily thinks that she is the mole. So
Mhm.
that's definitely very interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And then,
Well, let's get
okay.
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's just
there's
start.
so much to talk
We'll
about.
get there.
Well,
We'll
let's do
get
it.
there.
So the first person that was eliminated, and I don't even now remember how to say his name. Is this Osei?
Osei.
Osai.
Yeah,
I'll
Osei.
say.
Osei.
Okay, he's from Brooklyn, New York. He's got a
Yeah.
pet rabbit named
Oh, I
Sim.
thought he was from Brooklyn.
That's what his dossier says. Um, and he loves to try exotic foods.
Mm.
Okay. I don't have much to say about him. He went out fast, but his whole elimination was really centered around this finding the plane crap or like finding
Mhm.
things out there. And we have to talk about it because we have to talk about Joy. Okay, Joy, who is coming to us. She is a pilot.
Yeah.
Pilot. She's 40 years old. She's hailing from Atlanta, Georgia. She loves working out and can squat 225 pounds. She can also whip up a healthy gourmet meal in under 30 minutes. So take that, Rachel Ray. Now, a airline pilot, however, she failed to read the map correctly to the destination. And that was very mole-like behavior to me.
Yo, they were so far off of, like, if you saw like their dot, like this is where they were, that's where they had to go, and she led them there.
Like, come on. Come on. Come on. And I have not kept my eye off her since.
No,
As
and
you
there
said-
is when we get to Joy, there's going to be so much to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's it. I don't really have anything on Osei.
Like
Yeah, we
the
didn't
only
get
other
to-
thing that
didn't
I
get to
can
know him
say,
much.
the only other thing that I can say, and this goes back to what John was saying about like either they're the mole or they're idiots. I don't know what would possess you to be trudging through the jungle with this backpack, and at no point do you think, maybe I should see what's in here. I was told
Oh,
something in here
yeah.
might help us. Maybe we should look at it.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. And like, did you think it was weird though that then they got back to the plane at the end and they were like, "So, like, we'll open it now. Let's see what was in
Yeah,
there."
what's in there?
And he was like, "No, I'm not going to
he's
do
like,
that."
no, this is our bag. This is our
What do
bag.
you mean? The mission's over. You lost. Just show me what was in your bag.
That's
The shirt was in your bag.
But like truly, what are you trying to hide?
Literally.
You don't even know what's in there.
and you don't need it now.
It was just so shady.
No. Yeah, it was very, very strange.
For
It was
someone
very,
who's
very
not the
strange.
mole, I was like, why are you acting like
Mhm.
that?
Very weird. Very weird. Well, that challenge did put $12,500 in the pot. Okay, in the pot. All right.
Wait, did you like how it became 12,500 though? Because it started out as 7,500 because they brought back a case of 5,000, a case of 2,500.
Yeah.
And then Will, in the middle of the night, had to complete a task to double the value of one of the cases and successfully did it, but put himself at risk if he had gotten caught.
She sure did. Yeah.
What did
Very
What
tricky.
did you think of this little twist?
I thought it was fun.
Right?
I thought it was
I
really
love
fun.
because it's not the only one of these that we've seen so far this season, but I love that it's like someone does a sneaky thing and then they're like, roll the clip, and they like show everybody the footage. So now it's like this person is suspicious and you set him up to look suspicious. Even though, like,
Right.
is he the mole? Who's to say? But like now it just looks sus that, like, yeah, you were doing something to get us more money, but also now I know you're a really good liar and that you're a really sneaky person. So like, do I trust other stuff that you're going to do? Because no one suspected him when they were all looking for the case that he was maybe in on where it went,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
What I like about this too, though, is that that's now adding a twist to the game that does not actually hurt the contestant.
Right.
If anything, it helped him. It doesn't matter if people think you're suspicious and you're not actually the person. It's not like they're going to now vote you out. Like when they did this, I said, ooh, this is like one of those big brothery twists where like you kind of like you're screwing that person over a little bit by giving them this advantage. That wasn't this. And I
Right,
like
because
that.
if Will is not the mole and people then suspect him for that and vote him as the mole, it's
he
screwing
stays
them.
in longer.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's that he makes him stay in longer. So it didn't actually hurt him at all. This is a good thing for him. Yeah, it's just an interesting way of looking at things like that. It's really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So the next person that we lost was Samara. Samara. She's also from Atlanta. She's 25 years old, a mental health counselor. She has snorkeled in the Great Barrier Reef. And she recently graduated with a master's degree in clinical psychology.
Interesting.
Yeah, great. Good for you, Samara. Now, I don't remember anything about her exit.
I
Um,
vaguely remember. I just rewatched it and I still vaguely remember her. I feel like we
yeah.
barely saw anything of her. Was this the jailbreak?
It looks like it locked in a cell with their group cell block. Yep,
Yeah.
that's what this was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hold on now. Cell
This
block.
was
It was
interesting.
Avery, Samara, and William. I don't think theirs was the interesting one. I think there were some interesting things going on in some of the other ones. Like,
Yeah, I
just
don't
went
really
the,
remember their portion of the jailbreak. I feel like nothing
I just
of
remember the
note really
jailbreak.
happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I just remember
I
that kind of
just
working.
I just mean the jailbreak in general. I thought was interesting. It was a
Oh
fun
yeah,
one.
the talent itself, yeah. But no,
Well,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
but in the other two cell blocks, there was like, oh, how did you not see that the key was there? Why didn't you tell me that was a key? What, like, there's like so
Right,
much
wasn't
like
it Kazi that didn't
potential
see the
mole.
key at
Yeah,
all?
there was like potential mole like behavior happening all over the place, but in their particular cell block, I don't really remember anything of note.
Yeah, I don't remember that one being a standout to me. What did you think about cell block D? I know you don't know who that is. That was Greg, Joy, and Kasi. Now it was Joy that was in there, right? That was hopping up and down. I can't reach it. I can't reach it. Oh my goodness gracious! And then you had Kasi, who was like basically saying to what's his face that she couldn't see a key or something like that. Was
Mm-hmm.
that the one? That was
Yeah,
her,
so
right?
Cassie had the key in front of her door, and she asked Joy, "Do you see anything around my door?" And Joy said
Mm,
no. So Joy didn't see the key either, and that
just a
was what like
disaster.
made Joy seem suspicious of like, well, couldn't see that there was a key right in front of me, which
Yeah,
we also saw elsewhere. That was the
we
other
did see
cell
that
block had
elsewhere. Yes. That
a
was
very
cell
similar
block
trajectory.
F. Okay, that was
Hmm.
Jacob, Pranav, and Sandy. Um,
Sandy.
Sandy. It was Sandy who was the person that was being a little shady about that, wasn't it?
Oh wait,
That
I thought
doesn't
it was
sound right.
whoever was across from Will. Maybe it was Samara. It was
It
whoever was
was
across
Sandy.
from Will couldn't see the key.
I think
Because
that was
because they
Samara.
Yeah, because Samara told him that it was a hair tie, so he didn't pay attention to it and kept doing other
Yeah.
stuff, and then came back to it was like, all right, it's a last ditch effort. I'm just gonna try to. I thought it was Sandy. That's so funny. Like he was like, all right, I guess I'll just try to pick this thing up, and then picked it up after like so long of just trying to do other things because she told him it was just a hair tie and it was his key.
Mhm.
And I feel like he specifically asked too, like, is there a key?
Yeah,
She was like, no key, no.
I totally thought that was Sandy. That's my bad.
Yeah. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. But now outside, that was Dom and what's her face, Casey, right? And they had
Yes.
a decision to make: shave off 10 minutes for the time of getting out of this cell block. In exchange to what? Double the money?
Yes.
Yeah, they could double the money from 10 to 20 grand.
Yeah. So we're just reviewing each episode. This is not how this is supposed to go. We're gonna be here all night. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else with Samara, right? We had nothing else with Samara.
Yeah.
Right. We're satisfied with her.
Yeah,
Moving on.
I'm good on her.
Oh, well, you know what? Ironically, now we're up to Dom anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey Dom.
Yeah. He's from Toronto, an international star. He's 29. He operates heavy machinery. He spontaneously competed in his first Spartan race and placed in the top 20.
Sure.
He also was taking dance classes in high school, so he could be surrounded by girls.
Uh-oh.
Oh my! What a bad boy, troublemaker. Now,
Bad boy.
highlights for Dom. Dom had a rather emotional outburst at one of Joy's antics. And I thought this was of note because it felt very manufactured, this one.
There are a number of things on the show that it's like, that wasn't an organic conversation,
Right.
but I let it slide because I like it.
Right? I let it slide because I still at least like the gameplay, even if I
Right.
don't like some of the staging. Right.
Right.
Yeah. But so yeah, Dom was very, very upset because Joy was faced. Now, I think was it everyone that was faced with this decision? How did this work now?
Was this the dossier?
No, this was the one with
No.
wagering the team's money to receive it to get an exemption.
Yeah, but because of the dossiers, right? Or am I
Oh, was
jumping
that-
ahead?
This was I think that was ahead. I think that was further down the line. This was just like this was the very first thing. Like the pot was at like 28,500, and then Joy like wagered
She wagered
25,000.
25
Yes, but it
grand.
was so how this worked was they had the dossiers. Some people read it, some people didn't. The people who didn't read it got to wager who did read like
Oh, is
on
that
who
what that
did read
was?
it for the exemption. So there were two people that read it. So it because it said whatever it was integrity will be rewarded. So if you were one of the people that did not open it, you got to wager however much money on a bet of who did
Oh,
read
oh,
it,
those
of
two
who
separate
you
things.
think did read it.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is. So Joy wagered $25,000 of the team pot.
Yeah, that Will
and
read them. Not Will. I always do this. That Greg read them.
Greg. He's an
I keep calling him Will. I don't know why.
He looks like he could be. We'll get to him. Yeah, so Dom was very, very upset that Joy basically zeroed out the team here just to get this exemption.
It was so funny too. 'Cause I think it was Dom was like, please tell me that you bet me. Please. Because if she wagered all that money and then got the wrong answer, none of the money would go and
Right.
nobody would get the exemption. He was like, I really hope that you bet it on me. Like, please tell me that you guessed that I would read them, please.
Yeah, just I don't know the way that he acted around all that. Like it was very, very important for him that other people knew he wasn't the mole. Which, why? Like,
Yeah.
it works if they do. I don't know.
also did now. I enjoyed Dom, but it was very funny to me watching like how emotional his exit was because I was like, y'all couldn't have known this man for like we've only known him for like 3 episodes. I don't know
Right.
why you are crying like your best friend is now out of the competition.
Right, because I also don't get the impression they're not like living together, right? I feel like are they probably like in hotels or something? Like we're
I don't really know. It's hard to tell.
right, because it's like how close can you really be? Like it's not like you're in like a Big Brother house or something, and like 3
People were
episodes
like
could be weeks.
weeping, and I was like, you don't know this man that well.
Well, I feel like it probably depends on the situation too, because as we get further down the line, we've seen situations where someone was offered the chance to sleep in a nicer setup while everyone else
Right.
had to sleep in a warehouse, like chained to each other, you know? So like I don't know. I feel like their living situation probably changes frequently.
Right. But his elimination was also interesting, you know, because he had an opportunity to come back, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
In this challenge here.
Yeah.
This was there was some discourse around this. Now, how exactly did this work? He had a list of cities. He was locked in a car, right?
Mhm.
And I guess the only way he'd get out of the car is if he could guess the name of the state that was on the bumper sticker on the back bumper of
think
the
it was-
car he was locked in.
No, I think it was,
I think it was cities.
he
there
had
were
all these
places, yeah.
No, it was a city, not state. Oh, okay, fine.
he had a list of cities and based on questions that he was going to ask the other people that were still in the game, he would eliminate cities until he narrowed it down to the correct one.
Well, yeah, I just didn't get that far yet. I had to guess it, and I was going to say bye, but then we got
No, but
stuck on
I
the
but I
cities and states thing.
but I don't know if it had anything to do with was he trying to guess the bumper sticker or was that just his last like
The
eliminate
bumper
the
sticker,
one that
bumper
was
sticker
the
had
answer.
was the
It
answer.
was I thought that was his last thing that he had to cross off of like, okay, well, this is not the answer either.
No.
Oh no,
that
the
was
answer
the
was
answer.
the bumper sticker. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
No, good. I'm glad that other people mess some things up. So it saves me, you know. I'm the one messing up a lot here. So yeah.
You're not messing up
He-
anything.
So he was calling on the inside on the walkie-talkie and basically saying, "Hey, I get to come back and I'm going to add some money to the team pot." Right? I think it was like 10,000 or something.
Something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, or something like that. Doesn't really matter. But wanted to come back into the game. Just tell me, where you came from. And it was Sandy who said, "Now stop it now. Let's not say anything. Let's not bring him back. Let's not help him, even though he's adding to the pot. We don't want to let him back in because whoever he was now answering the mole quiz answers about." Clearly, he knows that person is not the mole. So now he knows more than we do. So that makes him a threat.
Okay, but also if he comes back, that is now one person that you all know the mole is not.
Is not. Right.
Right.
That's huge.
And
That's
this is
huge.
and not only that, you know that he's not the mole, and you know that he also knows who is not the mole. So you can work together with him to draw information from him to also
Right.
figure out who the mole is not.
And you also then know that he has absolutely no read on what's going on.
Correct.
So how much of a threat is he?
Do you
I
think?
thought it
do you
was
think?
ridiculous to not bring him back.
Yeah.
Do you think that any of them would have been suspicious that, like, all right, you're supposed to be eliminated. Why are they bringing you back? Was this whole thing like a decoy to throw us off, thinking, oh, so Dom's not the mole? But because it's not like they've tried to bring anyone else back now. Like I would have even thought that, like, since Dom didn't get the chance to come back, maybe they would do this twist again with somebody else or something, but they didn't. But it just made it like it makes it look like this was a one-time thing where it's like if only one person is going to be given this opportunity to come back, that could be a reason to suspect them of being the mole. Because it's like, why would they bring this person back?
But then they wouldn't leave it up to chance as to whether or not we maybe or maybe not, if they really needed this person to come back in because they were the mole.
I think that this was production's way of being like, for lack of a better term, our fun DRs are gone. We have to find a way to get this guy back in because he's funny and we think that he's going to give us good content. We can't let him go. So, like, let's try to get them to vote him back in,
And they didn't go for it. They're like, well.
He was close, though. He narrowed it down to Seattle and Melbourne or something like that. And he just picked the wrong one. He had a 50-50 shot, though.
And that was that. So that was Sandy's doing.
I also think, like, it was so ridiculous. I had not heard a peep out of Sandy for like 3 or 4 episodes. And all of a sudden here she is like, I say this will not happen, therefore it shall not happen. And it's like, who are you? I've never seen you before. Why are you yelling at me? What's going on?
And the way she was like, people were like looking at her like, you sure? Like, we're really not going to do this? And she was like, no, we're not doing it. And she was just like, take another sip of her beer. I was like, man, this girl is cold.
And like, here's the thing too, is like, sure, she didn't give you an answer. Everybody else, why couldn't they be like, just skip hers and let everybody else give our answer? They left it up to a vote to make it fair. I don't care about being fair. I don't know any of these people. I don't trust any of these people. I'd be like, all right, fine. We're skipping Sandy and we're doing all the other questions. And then you narrow it down that way. And now you have a 50-50 shot at what it's going to be,
Right.
I don't know. They stopped at Sandy and they were like, all right, well, I guess it's done.
Oh, they could just say, you know what? Well, I'm going to answer the question. And like, if you
Right.
guys want to also, then fine. But I'll answer.
Right.
And if it helps them, it helps them. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Hey.
That's what I was surprised that not like 1 or 2 other people, just threw an answer out.
And that's
I was
what
a little surprised by that.
Yeah, because it's like also like, who cares what Sandy says? Like, it's not like it matters if you go against what she said. It doesn't matter if she's angry with you. It doesn't matter now. Like, you do whatever the hell you want to do.
Who's to say that if Sandy answered the question that she would have given him the correct answer anyway? For all you know, she's giving him the wrong answer.
Right.
What would have been funny, actually, is if she gave an answer and she said Seattle, and that made him cross it off the list. You know what I mean?
Imagine that'd be hysterical. If you just happen to choose that, choose that city.
Right.
Well, these hijinks is what probably, she didn't know what's going on. She left next.
Mm-hmm.
She's 26 years.
Maybe she should have kept Dom around.
Yeah. Maybe he would have helped her. Maybe he would have helped her. Well, she's from Fort Worth, Texas. She's got a black belt in Taekwondo, and she's trained for 12 years. She's also got a fear of open water and aquariums. All right. I don't have anything else on Sandy, actually. That's really it.
Yeah. Bye, Sandy.
However,
yes.
Around when she went out, so it's a little bit. She went out a little bit after, but I do really want to talk about this this cash team during this other assignment with the counting of the cash, because no, I don't want to talk about this. That's for later.
We'll get there.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Because I'm the one going in episode order, and I should not be.
Right.
I know. I keep doing it. So that's Sandy. All right. So Pranav, sadly, went next.
I really liked Pranav.
I really liked Pranav. He's 29 from Boston, Massachusetts. He is a law firm associate, majored in biomedical engineering, and is now in law school. All right, so he's very, very smart.
Mhm.
He also loves video games and all kinds of strategy games. The question here is what went wrong? You know, do you think that Avery sent him down the wrong path? You know, because I think Casey even made a comment of like, what happened there? Because they knew that him and Avery were playing the game closely together. And, Avery has already basically stated she enjoys the misdirection of this
Mhm.
game.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible she intentionally like
I mean,
misdirected him?
we have already seen Avery collect in this episode, collecting information and keeping it from other people. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that that necessarily tells us who the mole is, but it does stand to say that, like, if she's keeping that from people, what else might she be keeping from people? So I do definitely think that they were working together to a point, but when push came to shove, she's not going to tell him everything.
Yeah,
Right.
specifically with like Jacob, it seemed to me
Mhm.
she was keeping a lot of information that she had about Jacob, like, and not sharing it with Pranav. So
Mm. I'm just surprised he went out this early if he was going to go out at all.
He seemed to
Yeah.
have really good reads from my perspective, so it
Yeah.
was surprising to me too.
Yeah. Mm. Well, bye, Pranav. We liked you. We
yeah,
liked you.
yeah. I like Pranav a lot.
One other thing on Pranav. One other thing on Pranav. We saw some cross pollination, if you will. Yeah.
I
The
do
one,
not know what that means.
the one and only. Okay, Miss Hannah Chada is watching The Mole, and
Uh-huh.
she loves it.
Oh,
And she says that she would love to see Pranav and some others, we'll get to them later, would love to see Pranav play Big Brother. To which he responded, he would love to. He says he
I'm
believes
gonna
there's
be
a
so
waiting period.
honest. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be so honest. I don't know what it is about this cast. I feel like there's not a single person here that I wouldn't want to see somewhere else.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed watching this cast so much. I want to see them compete on freaking everything.
Yeah. Um,
I love
there's
the
some
way this whole.
movement for a couple of them.
I love the way this whole show is like shot too. Like it just looks great. You know what I mean? Like it just everything looks good. The where they choose to film always looks great, but like just the way like the camera work is done, I feel like it's not shot the way like Big Brother is done, obviously, because like it's the cameras in the house and everything, but even like the challenge and stuff, like this is shot very differently. The Mole. So and I really like how they do everything.
It's a great show. It's a really great find.
Mhm.
Yeah. Happy we're doing this. Happy we're doing this. Thank you. Thank you, Netflix. You
Thank you,
finally got one. You finally got one right. You finally got one right. Because I'm not usually too hot on the Netflix. Okay, not too hot. If T-Mobile wasn't paying for it, I wouldn't be. But now I'm in. Now I'm in because actually, I've also been watching The Lincoln Lawyer. That's been some fun.
I do not know what that is.
It's a David E. Kelly show. Nev Campbell, our scream queen, is in it. That's for another time. That's not what we're here for. Next out was Casey.
Mhm.
She's 39 from Chico, California. She's a COVID ICU nurse. She has hitchhiked across southern Japan. And she's also been to Burning Man 3 times. I don't know what that is. I'm probably going to get canceled. And helped build camps and art cars. All right.
You're
Well,
not gonna
thank
get
you, Miss
canceled.
Casey.
She had a weird ending.
She had a weird ending. There was something about her though. She was a little moly to me.
yeah.
She was one that I was kind of in and out of suspecting.
Yeah, she was on the outskirts of my radar.
The way they were climbing like those mountains, and she like would just be like sitting there talking to somebody,
Yes, and just like
like
looking at the
laughing.
sights.
Look at the beautiful view. It's like you are on the clock, ma'am.
Yeah, it's like you have like 2 minutes left. You have to get across this rope. Like, hurry! What are you doing?
And it was very suspicious how many times that she tried to quit on that challenge because it's like do you have money in your backpack? Like, I don't know. I'm
Right.
like, just the amount of times that she was like, no, it's fine. I'll sit it out. No, I won't do it. No, it's fine. It's like, all right, so why though? What do you have? Because you haven't
Yeah.
tried to quit on any other competition.
Right, but that's the other thing too is that this competition was rough. Okay,
Mhm.
this
It
was
was.
not like this. I mean, this going over on little tight ropes across mountains and stuff. Like I be trying to quit too, but like yo, I'm done. I don't have to do this, y'all. And they're like, no, we think you might be the mole. You keep going. I'd be like, yo, stop it. Stop playing. I don't care. Switch bags with me. I don't care. I don't want to do this. Like this has nothing to do with this game. I don't want to play this.
Mhm.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You get forced into doing these awful things. You can't even quit.
Yeah.
That's wild. At least in the challenge, you can just say, I'm not doing this, and you just take a penalty. And this, everyone's like, no, you could be the mole. Nope, sorry. Nope, sorry.
Wow.
But even still, like in that situation, like you could be the mole. Okay, fine. And if you vote me the mole and I'm not, that's your problem. That doesn't affect me at all.
Right, but if you keep saying I'm the mole and keep making me doing these scary things, soaring over these mountains, I'm pretty pissed.
soaring over these mountains.
I'd be pretty pissed, But yeah, so wasn't that Casey's exit? That was her last thing, right?
I believe so. I think
Mm.
so.
Yeah.
She's probably like, they forced me to go over these mountains, and now I'm
Yeah,
out
but
anyway.
And then I lost.
It sucks. Poor thing. Next person out was so far really is the last person out. Greg,
Hmm.
age 32 from Seattle. He survived a huge storm at sea. He's also certified in Zumba, yoga, and
Reiki.
excellent.
I
Excellent. And he's a
felt the pause.
marketing
I said he's
consultant.
just not gonna go further.
I was really trying to decide, and I was like, "Can somebody just help me?" and then you stepped in, so thank you. Now, see, Greg, I had moments of Molly with him as well.
Yeah.
Greg
Yeah.
was one of the ones like I was talking about earlier, where it's like you're suspicious, but I feel like you're too obvious because of the way you're being edited. So I feel like you can't be the mole, but do they want me to think that it's too obvious? Like I
Mhm.
kept going back and forth with him where I was like, I feel like it can't be you, but it might be you.
Yeah.
I had some suspicions of him, but I liked Greg.
I like Greg too. I did. I
Right?
liked him.
He was an interesting.
He was a
character.
great character, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was fun.
Yeah. I was sad to see him go.
Like it was almost giving like a villain arc, but he wasn't actually doing anything wrong. Like it was just like his
Right, his
attitude was
editing
like
was
making
very
him the
villainy.
villain, but he wasn't doing anything wrong, you know?
Right.
I loved his moment when he had the whole dossier bribe thing, and he sat down at the desk and was given the option to look at the dossiers, and he was like, no, I'm not going to look. And then he was like, actually, yeah, I'm going to look. The way
What
it was shot.
crazy about that, like they obviously like revealed that he had gone through them because Joy had wagered on it. He
Right.
wasn't the only one who looked at the dossiers.
Right,
He's
I
just
was
the
just
only
gonna
one that
say,
everyone
yeah.
knows looked at the dossiers.
I was just going to say Avery got away scot-free because we
Like
found
that's
out that she
wild.
looked. And yeah, and just because Avery's name wasn't the one that Joy wrote down in her bet, Greg is the only one that took the blame for
It
that.
got exposed, yeah.
Mhm. He also had a fun moment in that one challenge where they had to find the password to put into the computer, and they had the people on the phone, and they're
Yes.
saying,
That's
"Oh, where
right.
were you?" And and Greg was very good. We're like, "Well, I am sitting in here in this room." He's like, "I'm not
Right.
gonna
He's
lie,
like,
I'm
I'm not
gonna lie."
lying to anybody. I'm telling them what I'm doing. I'm just not saying what everybody else is also doing. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, I love this.
I also love the moment where he sent, I think it was Casey,
Yeah.
to like go get everybody so that they could talk on the phone, but then she just never came back.
But it's also like the way that he was going about it too. He was like, "Oh, you want to talk to everybody else in the room? Yeah, sure. Just 1 second," while just
Right.
trying to get her to like go and look for everybody.
She was like, I'm just going to go in this room and disappear. And then all of a sudden the other team figured out. They're like, it's just Greg. There's no one else
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that was a really fun
Yeah.
moment.
I do also want to say this was like my first impression of the show, and with Greg, it's stronger than the others. But like, I feel like everybody on this show looks just enough like somebody else that it's distracting to me. Where I'm like, who do you remind me of? Like, I can't tell if they all look like an actor or a person I know, or like everybody that I look at on this show. I'm like, you look like someone. I feel like I've seen all of them before, and it's really frustrating that I can't figure out why.
I agree. He looks like another actor, though.
I can't place it.
At least, especially in this picture. He looks like the guy from New Girl.
Oh, Max Greenfeld? Schmidt?
No, the guy who played Nick.
Oh.
At least in the small version that I have on my screen. He's not blown up on my screen. In this particular photo, smushed down. All right. So before people start saying,
I don't know, man. I can't place it. There's something about him is familiar, and I don't know why. And I feel that way about everybody. Even Alex, the host. I'm like, I've seen you somewhere. You look like someone. I know I haven't seen you before, but I've seen your face before.
Speaking of, what do you think of her?
I like her.
Before we get to who's left. Yeah, you like her.
I like that she's like self-aware. And like, well, like she'll like say something and she'll be like, "That was good, right?" Like, I'm having fun. Like, she's just very like silly about it. Like, I enjoy her a lot.
Yeah. Thank you,
Jake Johnson. That's the one.
Validated me. Thank you.
I really enjoy that when they have these like luxurious dinners before they do these quizzes. Like the cast will be there, like mingling and drinking, but then Alex will walk in like looking awesome and like with like a martini glass in her hand, like walking in like somebody's about to go home. Let's do this. You know, like she's just like, yeah, she's got like a great presence. I really like her as the host.
She looks like she enjoys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel like for a competition like this, how could you not? I would be having so much fun, like being the person who knows all the answers. Right. I will say though, and I know this is the editing, it's not so much her. There are moments where I'm like, why did you, like specifically with the money one, like she was like, and you counted in the amount of, and it's like, just tell me how much they counted. Like, why are we doing this?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
You know what I will also say? There are a lot of moments like with the editing of this that when they're explaining the rules of a competition, it is not actually her speaking to them.
Right.
There's a lot of shots just moving. Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's just like a little weird to me. Like, obviously we see that in this challenge too, but like it's just so obvious in this. I find it's
so funny too, where like again, like the people who aren't the mole are so dumb. And like there are moments where like she'll be giving a clue, but her clue is like the answer is literally in the periodic table that is on the wall behind you. Please open the table, you stupid idiots. Like she's like literally giving them like exactly what the answer is. Like, hi, no one's figuring this out. So this is the literal answer to this puzzle.
It's embarrassing. Embarrassing. Okay. So you want to go through who's left in alphabetical order?
It's just so wild. Yeah, that sounds good. It's just so wild because like somebody else is gone. We just don't know who it is.
I know. The cliffhanger was driving me nuts, especially because the two people that are left are two of my suspects, and I'm like, well,
right. Oh my, what, like, oh my, this really was perfect. It's like, what a cliffhanger to have to, you know, to make everybody have to wait now, because
neither of them are my main suspects, but they are my second and third choice, and I'm like,
Who is it left on now? Who is it left on?
Who's the two that are left?
Joy and Jacob, right? Yeah.
It's down to them. So whoever's screen turns red goes home. I think Jacob was the one that was about to tap his phone.
I think so.
I think I could be wrong. Maybe.
No, that sounds right.
Well, in alphabetical order,
let's do it.
We're starting with Lady Avery. She's 26 and she's from Phoenix. She's a professional gamer. All right. In Colorado, Avery did a 600-foot solo climb on the Flatiron Mountains. And she is also a singer-songwriter and has released her own music. Right,
obsessed with Avery. I'm obsessed with Avery. I love her so much.
I love Avery. Love
Me
Avery.
Me too.
I listen. I don't know. Is she moling us too? Like, I didn't
Do you
think
think it's
she.
her?
I'm not putting it past her. She's not my number one choice, but I could see um her being able to manipulate these DRs well enough because she's just having fun with us because like the
Mhm.
gamer in her. I think it's possible that we're being molded.
Do not think she's the mole, but I would not be upset if she was. Like I would love
No,
it if she was. I do genuinely think that she's just trying to like be suspicious to throw other people off to get herself to the end. I think she could win. I don't think she's the mole though.
You know, okay.
I
So
think I agree with that.
here's a funny thought. So I was thinking to myself, because like we've been hearing Will specifically say this over and over again, like, oh, Avery keeps doing like mole-like things to draw
Mhm.
suspicion, but like I don't really think she's the mole. And I'm like, what like a perfect position to be in if you are the mole. Like if
Right.
somebody thinks that you're purposely acting suspicious, like it's such a pass for you to now do suspicious things like as the
Right.
mole, you know. And it's like
Mhm.
could she be playing everybody that to that level that like I could totally see her
I mean,
being the
she is
mole.
a gamer. She
Absolutely.
could be that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
calculated about it.
It makes me want her to be the mole, honestly.
Oh, like I said, I don't think she is, but I'd love it if she was.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm happy with that either way it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um my first standout moment with her was when she dropped that oxygen tank on the
Mhm.
shore. And that was
Yeah.
just such a bold thing to do because it was like you just dropped it. Like you didn't even tell anyone. Like, like you were
Yeah.
it didn't even look like you were trying to say, like, listen,
Right.
I can't go any further.
Right. She
Please,
didn't
can you
make
go
it look
back
like
and
an
grab it?
accident, like, "Oh, no, I don't know what happened to it." She fully was like, "This is heavy. Goodbye."
Yeah.
Like,
And
just
they're
put
like,
it on the
where's the
ground.
other tank? Oh yeah, I dropped it. I just left it over there. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. Yeah, whatever. It's like, what? Like, you didn't tell anyone.
Right.
Like, I just thought that was really bold and like pretty wild.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
loved it
yeah.
though.
And it was her that picked up on Jacob miscounting the money during the cash challenge,
Mhm.
That's
during the
right.
bank
And then
heist,
didn't tell anybody about
and
it.
didn't tell anyone about it. Now, what do you think of that? Mo-like or just honestly rushing and making errors? Could it be
On Jacob's part, you mean?
on Jacob's part? Yeah.
So,
Was
Jacob is
this?
my number 2 on who I think the
Hmm.
mole is. Um,
And I think it's okay to have crossover, right? Because he is next. He is next. So
mhm.
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be a good segue. He is
Sure.
from Bloom, Ohio. We'll have you know. Um,
I'll have you know.
and he's a firefighter, paramedic, lieutenant. Wow, that's a lot of things. He used to be a cage fighter. Whoa, but now practices Tai Chi and ballroom dancing. I mean, this
What a
man is
wide
just
array of
all
things.
over the place. Very eclectic. He grew up working on a goat farm and still harvests crops to this day. Wow.
Very active. Very
He
active.
is he is something else.
That is a
Comma,
wild resume.
right? Next bullet point or comma, mole.
Is this your
Um,
choice?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have
Still
a
not
choice before I keep asking you?
I do have a choice.
Okay.
I think he's my number 2 though.
He's definitely my number 2.
He's my number 2. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, so Jacob and what were we saying before that? Oh damn.
The money, miscounting the money.
Oh, miscounting the money. Isn't it possible that maybe we could have just miscounted?
No, it definitely could be a mistake, but it also like just the fact that it was off by like 1 or 2. Like that's so easy to just like throw one in there and be like, "Oops," you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Right,
you're
but it's
right.
also so easy to just really
No,
be
absolutely.
oops.
Especially
Yeah.
since, we did see like there was an issue with Sandy and Pranav with the conversions of like how much does this note say versus how, and they were off by like what, $700 or something. They were off by a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
So I'm
Because
not
she
saying
said
that was
she,
the thing that sabotaged them, but
Mhm.
it was a little sus, you know?
what that by the way, I just have to say is such a difficult position for like Pranav to have to be in because he's the one that's alone. That's already like people are saying, oh, if the mole is in this position, Sandy totally told him that those bills said that they were each worth 500,000
No, no,
or
no.
whatever.
Yeah, right. She said
Sandy,
500,000 before. Yeah.
Sandy, she totally said
Yeah.
500,000, and that's what,
Mhm.
and he did the calculation the first time that way. And then when he's like, "Wait, are you sure about that?" Like, and she's like,
wait, 500,000? No, I said 50,000. And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. But I'm the one that's alone here. You know, that's like, now I'm the one that's under suspicion because I'm alone.
And he's the only one
like,
looking at the conversion, so he's the only one that actually knows the amount. So no one can really check him. So there's no telling if he is being honest or not.
Right, but the thing about it is that even if, but like it's a good position to be.
But it's you're right. It's true.
Because like if that's what it does, and it makes people think that now you are not to be trusted, they're gonna start answering the quiz for you. Yeah, like I keep watching it thinking that this is not a good position to be in, but you have to keep switching, like you know, like your point of view here. It's actually great to be alone in those scenarios.
It's interesting. Very interesting, you know.
You should just purposely bungle it up every time you're alone.
Or be like Avery and screw it up whether people are watching or not.
Right. It's like, I think that's, I don't know. Like,
yo, how did she not see that phone number on the pizza box?
My God, we didn't even talk about that. That was insane.
Right? That was a moment that I was like,
Yeah. So what they're referring to is now when she was now tied up in this or chained up in this pigeon coop.
Bird cage, yeah.
Yes, and
I don't think she was tied or chained up. I think
she was just locked in there.
No, she was just locked in there.
Chained up in a chicken coop.
No, yeah, I guess she wasn't that restricted. And there were 2 locks on the cage, and you know, one red, one blue, and you had you know, Joy and Kazi on one side, you know, you had to unlock their lock, and then it was Jacob and
Will.
And Will on the other side. None of this matters, except that they were in this pizzeria. And they had these little clues and stuff. It's very exhaustive.
It's okay. We're talking about 10 episodes of television tonight.
And like I think if memory serves, this is the most recent one, which has all of the people who are still in it. So if there's any episode to be exhaustive on, this is the one.
Yeah, I know. It's just gosh. It's been a long night now. So there was a clue in there, and they did, you know, they have to now try and find out how they can get to Avery in this pigeon coop. And they called her, you know, as she's, you know, locked up in there, and they asked her, you know, is there a pizza box in there? And she said, yes, there is one in here. It would match the same pizzeria. And Jacob asked Avery if there was a phone number on the box. She glanced down and she just said no, because she didn't see a phone number on the top, but she didn't even bother to look at the side of the box where there was a number. Even the way she hung up was strange.
Oh, yes, I gotta call the girls.
Yeah, like he's like, oh, really? There's no number on the box. I gotta go. Gotta call the girls. Click, and it's like, what was that? Like that was so strange, and just left them just sitting in the pizzeria, like with now nothing to do.
Yeah, you couldn't just tilt the box upward slightly.
Right. And it looked, again, I don't know how the editing worked out, but it looked like half an hour went by, and then she picked up the box and was like, "Oh God, a phone number."
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't think maybe it was I'm sure it wasn't a half hour. I hope it wasn't that long. I could also see if you're excited.
It looked like
it
was forever, but I don't know. It could have been like 2 minutes.
I don't know. Could the excitement of it just like, I don't know, make you be a little jarred? Like, no, I don't see it there. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have time for this. I gotta call them, because you feel like you have to keep bouncing back and forth. Like, I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
Well, didn't they make? I feel like didn't they make a mention actually of how long they were in the pizzeria? I forget which one of them said it, but I feel like once they got to the pigeon coop, and they were all standing outside, like Will and Jacob were there, and Jacob made I forget exactly what amount of time he said, but I feel like he said something. Oh yeah, like, you know, we were waiting for a half an hour in the pizzeria for you know, an order to be placed for Jimmy.
Yes.
I can't remember. I could be exaggerating,
it could be,
but I don't know why that like is in my brain.
When you watch these in the blur, all those little
I know,
details are hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next is my mole pick. This is who I very mole-ish. Joy, We kind of
Yeah.
talked about her a little bit before. Miss Joy.
Joy's my
Um,
number 3. Joy's
she's
my
your
number
number
3.
3. Yeah, right now she's my number 1.
She's one that to me feels too obvious. But she's done a lot of shady shit. I don't know.
She's been stirring up a lot of drama the last couple of eliminations too at the table, like
I
publicly
love
calling
Joy.
people out.
Yes, it's delicious. I love Joy.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like some of her drama is a little manufactured, which then kind of makes me now
Oh,
think
some of it
that,
definitely, specifically like the detonator of like, I'm greedy, Will. You know I gotta do. It's like people don't just talk like that. Like I know
No.
that this is not like.
no. And you're a shithole mole. It's like, where did all this come from? You
Oh,
were
I
just
love shithole mole.
no. I mean, listen,
I
it's
love
fun to
shithole
say,
mole.
but you knew what you were doing there. You were giving yourself a tagline. Now, I did rewind a moment with her many times. When during Kazi's little thing with now grabbing the exemption after
Yep.
that shriek she let out was like the funniest thing. I will not try to reenact it, but like, I mean, they even cut it in like 2 or 3 times because it was just so good. But yeah, I mean, we'll get to that really in a minute, but I don't know. Joy just does a lot of things bad, and she just makes a lot of really bad decisions.
Right. I'm like, I can't tell if you're just terrible at every game we've been playing or if you're purposely being bad at it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
She started it off with the terrible navigating. And
multiple
then,
times terrible navigating.
Yeah, and multiple times.
Because she also was part of the navigation crew when they were. That was also part. That was the money train thing, right?
Yeah.
They had. Oh, maybe it wasn't money. But it was just a train.
No. Yeah. No, that was something with money.
It was okay. I just remember they had to get things along the way, and Jacob was the driver, and she misdirected him. Then.
That's right.
I don't know why they keep giving her maps.
Yeah.
And she also, like, again, going back to the thing with the detonator, she had such a good poker face. She was eating all of those disgusting, like, terrible whatever things, and was just so like, I'm fine. Like, completely, like, her face didn't even waver for a second. No one would have suspected her at all.
No. Now, there's some people on online are calling for her to play Big Brother, which I would love to see.
Oh, I would love it.
Wow.
Yeah. And Chada mentioned her as well. She's part of that tweet.
She's another one that, like, I don't want to necessarily say she's the villain, but like she like is just so good at like being sneaky. I love her. I love her.
This is really fun. That's Joy. Next up we have Kasi. All right, she's 27. She's from New York. She's a software developer. She also speaks Mandarin, and she's got, count them, 2, 3, 4. She's got 5 older siblings. Yep.
Wow.
This is Kasi.
She is also the mole.
Gina's choice for mole. Really? Okay, and why is that?
So there have been multiple moments, both outwardly and that haven't really gotten a lot of screen time, where she's screwed things up. Notably, when they were in the plane looking for the dinghy, and Avery was very much like, nope, don't see it. And she was going out of her way to like not have them see it, because that was when she started sabotaging on purpose. The person in the seat behind her, who was also looking out the same window and didn't see it or say anything either, was Kasi. Like, she was right there also looking and was misdirecting them too, but they were focusing on Avery because that's what the episode was about. But Kasi didn't say anything either. She also had that, like, in the money heist kind of competition where she had like the names of the lock boxes, screwed that up, which I'm gonna be so honest. I'm hit or miss on that one myself, because it's like,
I don't know that I would have gotten that.
I think if I was looking for lock boxes and I saw that a name was Locke, I might have put that together, but I wouldn't have known it was Goldilocks because of gold.
Definitely
like, there were things like that I'm like, that's
that
tough.
one not.
I don't know that I would have gotten there.
Yeah, that one might have thrown me off, but Midas, if I saw Midas right away, I would.
Right.
That's one that I feel like you should know.
The only thing that would have drawn me to that name would be that the last name was Locks and they were looking to unlock something, but I would not have equated that to any kind of gold anything.
I don't know who King Midas is.
Wow.
Oh,
So that would have done
like
nothing. They would have done
touch
nothing.
things and turn them to gold.
Yeah,
No,
everything
No.
you touch turned to gold.
I don't know him.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I really would have messed this one up. I also would not have known that El Dorado. They were like, oh, if you would have said El Dorado, I definitely would have tried that one.
That one maybe would have made me look sideways, but I don't know if I would
I
have
might have
gotten
tried
there.
it just because it sounded familiar, but not because I
Mm.
thought it had anything to do with anything.
That one was
No.
a hard one, but I don't know.
I don't know any of this stuff.
I think Cassie is really good at flying under the radar when she's messing stuff up.
I mean, maybe. I was just thinking that she's like an idiot. And I just think she's just not doing things well. But then even when you think about the last thing that they had to do with the pigeons, and Joy was really adamant about choosing that one pigeon that was supposed to now
The
lead them to
correct one.
Avery. The correct one, mind you.
Right.
And Cassie was like really dead set on it being the other pigeon.
Mhm.
You know, that's pretty mole-like. There it is,
Mhm.
Liz, the pigeons. Yep.
No, right from the get, I was tuned into her because they didn't talk about her in the plane. And I was like, wait, she also was doing it. And then I've had a close eye on her ever since. And there's a number of moments where she's screwing stuff up, but they're not really talking about it.
Mm.
And no one's
Okay.
really noticing.
Yeah, I'm definitely suspicious of her.
And then, of course,
sure.
the moment where she took the exemption.
Right. That was when they were now all chained together in a cold, empty warehouse overnight. And they had locks on their ankles. And they had a decision. There was a little box that was going to open that had a key that would unlock the lock on the chain, and a little exemption card. Every 10 minutes the box would open for
Something
1
like
minute.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and you had only one person could take a key at a time. They had to choose between the card, the exemption card, or the key. If they choose the exemption card, the challenge is over. They go sleep in a hotel, and they have to sleep in the cold warehouse overnight. They trusted Cassie enough to go first. Cassie unlocked herself and took the exemption, to which Joy shrieked.
Yeah. This was the memorable moment for sure.
Yeah.
A very memorable moment. And she just walked out.
It was what? Didn't say anything. Didn't even look back
Said
at them.
nothing. And that was the moment that I realized this game is so interesting in the fact that you don't have to like me.
Right.
It literally
You're not voting me out. It
doesn't
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Cassie also
it.
screwed up.
Yeah,
Cassie
whatever.
screwed up the train thing too.
She what?
She screwed up the train thing when they were trying to get like the bags
She
on
dropped-
the hook or whatever.
she dropped
screwed
one,
that up.
right?
She dropped
She
them,
did
yeah.
screw that up, but in all fairness, like I feel like that was a pretty hard thing to do. Like that looked very hard. You know, putting that little claw just right outside the thing. You have one shot of grabbing a hanging bag. I mean,
And she could have just messed up, sure. But there are
Right, she
just like
could've.
when I look at the like all of the things that she has screwed up, I'm like, all right, either you're really terrible at everything or you're the mole.
yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
I'm
very
agreeing with
suspicious
you
of
because
Cassie.
I have to say, Joy, she's been my number one pick all along. With the way she's been misdirecting at these dinners, makes me think she thinks she's smart enough to misdirect enough to get people eliminated, which means it
Mhm.
looks like she's now starting to play to win, or at least make
Mhm.
attempts in that direction. So it makes me think maybe a little less that she's the mole.
Mm.
Which sure, it certainly does raise some suspicion on Cassie. Have you said, John, who your mole pick is? Who do you think the mole is?
I'm just.
You haven't said.
What was that?
Have you told us who the mole is? Who do you think the mole pick is? No, don't make me do it again. I can't believe I did it again. Let's do it. I mean, is it Will? He's next. He's from
know.
Henderson.
I love Will. I love
I
Will.
love Will too. Yeah.
Lifestyle brand manager. All right. He skydived 3 times in one day. Woof.
Oh my
You're
God,
really-
not me.
I guess it's surprising, but it's also like, are we reaching for facts here? After his friend broke his leg, he carried him on his back down a mountain while snowboarding. All right.
I like Will a lot.
I love
I
Will.
don't
I
think he
also
can
think
say that.
that Will is for sure not the mole. He's the only one that like the entire show I've been like, it's not Will.
Yeah,
I
don't
honestly,
think so.
if you're asking who I think it is, I lately have been thinking Avery. That's who I think I'm gonna go with.
Really, really,
No.
you think she's been moling us?
Well, you know what? Like, just the fact that she is a gamer, I could see her being the person that, like, you know, would be good at being like the mole.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know.
All right. Do we have anything? I agree with that. Look, I suspect everyone but Will.
I think if it ends up being Will, I'm annoyed and I don't like the show anymore. Like I think it's like so impossible for Will to be the mole.
Yeah, I don't see it being Will. I would be a little disappointed in the editing for that. That would be that's not good.
Because then if it is Will, what's happening is they're keeping so much mole-like behavior from us to then hit us at the end and be like, but here's all the things that Will did. And I don't like that.
Right, that's too much. That's too
Right.
much. No, I think at this point it really could be anyone. There's so many different ways to look at it.
Uh-huh.
Was there anything memorable from Will, by the way? Anything that really like stood out?
I mean, he like out of everybody else, Will is so determined to finish these missions that he literally has put his blood, sweat, and tears into this show. Like that he
Yeah.
was not eligible to compete at one point because he sliced his arm open, he sliced his leg open because he was trying to dive for these cases so hard.
Right.
It was funny
which
that,
is why like I can't see him being the mole because he cares so much about finishing these missions. I'm like, there's no way that guy is going to sabotage anything unless he's really trying to make people think that he cares about the missions and then he's sabotaging. But I haven't seen him do. I feel like anything that has been lost has not been in his hand.
Right.
You know.
right. Well, what's funny is that, like, there was at least one mission where that could have been something that people looked at him as like molish behavior, because like for that mountain one, only
Right.
3 people could finish, and you didn't know who had money and who did. So like, you know, people could have thought that him insisting that he go to the end was a sign that, like, oh, why do you want to get to the end so bad? Do you know that you don't have money because you're the mole and you put the money in other people's, backpacks or whatever? Like, and like everybody was voting against him, and I think like he made a comment like, oh, this is the dumbest decision I've ever heard. Like, and like, because he was so adamant about, like, no, I have to finish, and he kept saying it was like, so I need to finish so that I can make sure that other people finish the mission, like it gets done, like I need to be there to make sure it happens. And they were like, and like that was like casting suspicion on him, for some people, because it's like, are you insisting that you go so that we get less money?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an interesting.
Did he have money or not? I don't remember.
He did not.
Which further, boosts the point there. Well, I guess that's that. That's the mole.
Oh, I'm so excited for the rest of it.
Yeah, 8 episodes of the mole. That was fun.
I'm so excited to say. I just want to know who gets eliminated.
Well, you're gonna have to wait.
Like what? Like it's a great cliffhanger, but I'm dying. I just need to know if it's Joy or Jacob.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, because it could really go either way, honestly.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, no. All right. We don't know when we're gonna wrap this up.
I mean, it ends on Friday, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very absentee next week, actually. Yeah.
Absentee.
Wow.
Yeah, we have to talk about that offline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out when we come back for the mole. I really don't want to miss the finale. No. So yeah, because that Halloween cabaret is taking up some time. I did not factor in rehearsals to when I said yes to this. Also because I was asked to host and then I was changed to singing. So I was not really supposed to be rehearsing like this. So I got duped. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Anything else for Mole Monday? We're good?
I don't
I
think
do have
so.
one more thing. I do have one more thing to say. Manwan.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, just because earlier, like way in the beginning of this,
I saw
Gina
you
went,
gearing up to say it.
yeah,
I saw
Gina went, Mo Monday, Mo Monday, Mo Monday, and I was like, she's trying now to get us to phase out Manwan by
there.
shouting Mole,
It's
and I
so
won't
funny
have it.
because
I'm going to
as
remind her
Kyle,
what night this is. It is Manwan
I was
Monday.
dying because as
Wow.
Kyle was doing the intro, I kept seeing you like get close to the mic and then back away and like go to, and I was like, he's trying to get in there.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had to make sure that it happened, and I waited until the exact moment that I needed to.
Uh-huh.
So there it is, Manwan.
Wow. Is this what goes on at 9:20? And I'm just popping at 9:27. I'm
Oh
missing
my
a whole
God.
night. Missing a whole night. Well, you can find us on the socials, Strat Chat Pod, or on our website at stratchatpod.com. And it was just Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Thanks for hanging out. We're out here. All right, bye.